Hey boys and girls, welcome back. It's me, Keith the Misprint Guy, and welcome to week 26, in which I share with you all kinds of strange and unusual cards from my game called Magic the Gathering. Misprints, test prints, if there's something downright weird with it, I want to share it with you. So now, what do I have for you this week? Well, in week 20, one of the things that I share with you is what was called Alternate 4th Edition. And one of the things that I said was, do not confuse Alternate 4th Edition with Summer Magic. So, I really didn't elaborate as to what Summer Magic is. So, let's do that. All right. Now, what exactly is Summer Magic? Well, Summer is a revised version of the revised set. See, one of the things about Revised that they were just not happy with was how the cards looked. They thought they were very drab, boring, kind of light. I mean, personally, I kind of like the way it looks, but they just weren't happy, and there were a few mistakes that they also made in the set. So they thought, you know what? Let's try this again. So what they did was, they printed off some, it's like I said, it's kind of like what you want to call revised 3.5 or whatever. And so they made the changes. And overall, they had a nice, richer color to them. But there are some very bad mistakes that they have made. Now, for those of you that are like, yeah, I know what Summer is, and probably the first card you're going to think of is the Blue Hurricane. Now, for those of you familiar with Hurricane, Hurricane is a green card, alright? Let me just drop in a scan of this Hurricane that I'm talking about. So yeah, check that out, X and one green, but it's a blue card. So obviously that is a big mistake. And another card that is an infamous mistake is a Serinda Befreet. Now, with the revised version of the Serinda Befreet, they made some critical errors. So they thought, okay, we're going to get it right this time. Well, they pretty well did, other than the fact that they still had the wrong artist's name. So everything on the card looks correct at a glance, and you're like, yeah, okay, so this guy drew it, but it's actually not the case. So those are the two cards that they really screwed up on. And then one of the things that was also a real critical error is with most of these summer cards, they look kind of good, but the green cards with their richer, brighter colors, everything got a little bit too dark, and then it was very difficult to read what is actually in the text box. I mean, most of you might recognize this immediately, and you're like, yeah, it's Giant Growth, I know what it does. But, if it's a green card and you're actually trying to read it, it's tough, all right? So they saw all this stuff, and they're like, wow, all these mistakes that we made, what do we do now? So they thought, screw it, we're not going to release it. Well, so a lot of this product got destroyed. I mean, it's really hard to say how much of the product they actually made and how much of it, went to the shredder, but a little bit of it actually made it out into public, and it actually got out in revised packs, by the way. And the stories have it that these cards were released, and a lot of it ended up in Texas and in England. So far as I know, these stories are true, but I don't live in England. I have family in Texas, but I wasn't exactly there, so I'm just gonna have to take their word for it. And so anyhow, the product got released. Now, by some very good estimates, and a lot of people that I've talked with, a good estimate is about 20 of each rare, 50 of each uncommon, and I'd say then about 200 of each common made it out in the public. And then you averaged, at least in revised, you averaged 4.5 land per pack. So if you want to kind of, do some rough estimates, it's pretty obvious that there's a lot of basic land out there as well. So you have all this product that got out accidentally, and a lot of people didn't even know what they were opening, and they're like, what's going on here? But if only they had known. Now this stuff goes for a lot of money. So with all these mistakes and all that, you get this product coming out there, and then people go, oh, wait, I want to collect this. Now, here's the thing. If you're just now learning what Summer is, if you're watching this video and you're like, yeah, I want to collect Summer, don't do it. I know a lot of good, crazy collectors that have a lot of money, and they're still searching for a good chunk of the rares that they need for their set. Myself personally, I am not going for a set because I'd like to think I'm a reasonably sane person. Sometimes I doubt myself, but I like to think I'm sane. And I really like the cards Balance and Granite Gargoyle. So hey, a little bit off subject, but if you can find me either one of those rares, give me a holler. So, alright, so you're watching this and you're thinking, alright, now I don't exactly know what summer is. Can you really just, break it down for me? Alright, so let me just drop in a scan there. Alright, now these are 3 versions, as you can tell, of Armageddon. Alright, now with the Armageddon on the left, that is the actual revised version. Alright, now the Armageddon in the middle, that's the summer version. And then the Armageddon on the right, that is 4th edition, so you can kind of see how once they got the kinks wrong, once they got everything fixed, this ended up being a lot like what 4th edition looks like. So at a glance, some of these summer cards kind of look like 4th edition. Alright, so you look at that Armageddon right there in the middle. So you say, alright, now how do I exactly tell the difference? Alright, white bordered, English only. That's important, obviously. There are no foreign summer cards. It is only English. And then if you look at the bottom, you see copyright 1994 and then the artist's name. Okay, so now one thing that I really have to stress is that line there at the bottom, it's only one line of text, because the only other card that is English, white bordered, copyright 1994 were a couple of magazine promos, and those cards are, if I remember correctly, Fireball and Blue Elemental Blast that came in a magazine. I have some somewhere, but you run into those every once in a while. So if somebody says, hey, check it out, I've got a summer Blue Elemental Blast, and it's the only summer card that they tell you that they have, maybe a Fireball, but you know what I'm saying. If it's the only summer card that they say that they have, I would be very cautious. You want to see scans if you're really looking to buy some summer cards, because those are the cards where a lot of people that just don't understand say, hey, check this out, and then they want a ton of money for a card that's worth next to nothing. So I want to make sure that you get that part correct before you go and blow a lot of money. I'm not even going to really stress how much summer cards are, because it seems like every time I turn around they're more. But at least at this point, which is early 2012, they go for $100 or more. So if you want a junky summer card, okay, let's see, this is the first one that I happen to pull. Giant Spider, woohoo, Giant Spider. All right, this is one of those commons, that everyone has, a ton of if you played back in the day. Obviously not the summer version, but yeah, Giant Spider, big deal. All right. As of right now, I would expect to pay $100 for this card. So, that Armageddon, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more than $100. I don't even want to think about how much it's worth. Good news is, at least for me, a lot of the summer cards that I bought a long time ago. I have not bought any recently, because every time I look at the prices, I'm like, give me a break. All right, so hopefully that is all you really need to know. Obviously, if you have questions, you feel free to get a hold of me. But that's really it. I can't think of anything else that really needs to be said, other than if you're going for some summer cards, good luck. And really, if you want some, you can feel free to get a hold of me. I can at least point you in the right direction. But be expecting to pay a lot of money, all right? So, hey, questions, comments, concerns, you feel free to get a hold of me. Otherwise, I will see you soon, okay? So take care.